Good day, everyone, or good evening if that's when you're watching this. So, today I wanted to get into compassion with yourself and community as a direct response to all the pedophilia that's going on and that's being unveiled. So, I want to connect for you the act of being compassionate with pedophilia and how the compassion that we offer ourselves and others on a daily basis is actually healing that. So, let's look at why the cabal, why choose pedophilia? Okay, what are they up to tactically speaking? Okay, from let's say a metaphysical standpoint, what are their tactics? So, it comes down to innocence, okay? On a very collective and essential level, right? Humanity has a heart of innocence, and we as individuals have hearts of innocence. So anytime that you feel tempted to reject your own innocence or to reject the innocence of another, you're performing a metaphysical equivalent, a microcosmic one, of what they want to be happening all over the earth, right? The idea is to instill in us and in the collective a program that perpetually rejects innocence, okay? That mistreats, that abuses, that suppresses innocence. Innocence is very powerful, right? It's a very powerful channel for oneness. So it's actually what they're doing is very tactically sound. So for us to be tactically sound, we want to begin watching for innocence in everything we're encountering and to really meditate and become viscerally aware of our own innocence. Really, it is stationed in the heart. I mean that quite literally, that when we access the feeling of our own purity, our own innocence, it is discovered within the heart. So, we want to, as our tactical response, get very familiar with innocence. The first way into this is certainly discovering our own innocence, because that allows us to begin to see it in all the beings that we encounter within the community. And so what do I mean by mistreating innocence? Well, let's look at some examples of mistreating innocence that we might be familiar with, okay? So it's always easy to go to, interactions on social media. Right? That's the thing that I get to perceive most in terms of observing the collective's behavior. And in trying to work through all this information and trying to get to the truth and just the tension and the anxiety of trying to get to it, there's a lot of shaming, there's a lot of judging, there's a lot of impatience, or the even deeper program that is instilled with us that pretends to be spiritual discipline is that we're hard on ourselves or others when we catch these things happening. So when we catch ourselves shaming, judging, or being impatient with another person in the community, then we reject our own innocence, right? We don't have compassion for ourselves. Or we see someone in the community being judgmental or impatient, and even if it's just internally, even if just to ourselves, we're thinking, God, that person is so judgmental, they're so impatient. Why are they doing what they're doing? How dare they? Those little moments add up, right? So if you think of us as a community, thousands, and really just this happening in millions and billions of people, all these little moments of humans rejecting the innocence in each other, rejecting the innocence in themselves, right? Rejecting the innocence in another. All of this is a microcosmic expression of what pedophilia is doing in a much deeper, more traumatic, more powerful way. Okay, because what they're doing is they're taking the most innocent beings within our collective and trying to destroy them. They're trying to destroy their purity and their innocence, right? So that's not just to harm that child. It's not just for them to gain power for themselves. It is to wound our collective in a very, very specific way. So to respond to this can be little moments of compassion, building them up, finding more and more of them every day. And when we fail to be compassionate with others, then to be compassionate with ourselves. We have to forgive ourselves for being agents of this program, right? When we find ourselves rejecting innocence, we have to forgive ourselves, because this is a program that, that is coming to an end, but it still has a presence on earth. So, there's a little cat battle in my house. So it's important to understand that we have these little opportunities to combat energetically what pedophilia is doing and has been doing to us as a people. And we combat it with compassion, right? We have this opportunity to undo this little pattern of rejecting innocence here and there and again, because if we can take it in the other direction, instead of being frustrated with each other and forgetting that each person is innocent and pure, and they're coming from innocence and purity, and that the programming that's instilled in them is simply, it's putting a cloak over it, right? So we have to do the work to see what's underneath the cloak of programming in each person and in our own behavior, right? But this is a huge advantage, okay? So for us to become aware of this is a huge advantage, because while on the bigger scale, there is all this military tactical work to take down pedophilia, these pedophile rings, right? They exist because of these rings they create. While that's happening, we on a smaller level, and I don't mean smaller in terms of less impactful, because you have to understand that things scale up in the universe, but in the way that they're one person finding a moment of compassion is actually very powerful in the collective. So while all the military tactical things are going on, we can be doing this tactical work within ourselves and within our little community here. As we're following QAnon and we're following all this stuff, it's very intense. If we're doing this together as a community with more compassion and with more of an eye on the innocence of ourselves and each being, then us honoring innocence in ourselves and each other every day is already beginning the work to undo all of the damage they've done to humanity's potential, right? And the deeper program, right? The deeper program that we have to get to eventually is to see the innocence in the cabal, see the innocence in the abusers, right? For them to have gotten where they are, they had to be innocent beings that were subjected to experiences that warped their innocence so that the desire to harm another was possible in them, right? They're one with everyone that they harm, but their innocence is so damaged, it's imperceptible. So find these steps, right? First, just practice finding your own innocence. Meditate on your own innocent heart. Take the time to rest with that, so that you can viscerally feel what it's like to just be an innocent, curious, open being full of wonder. And then, as you find that viscerally in yourself, use that awareness, use that visceral knowledge to connect with that innocence in others, especially those people that are challenging you, that are pissing you off, that seem like they may be doing damage, to the movement. And then we take it a step further, right? And eventually, for those of us that are ready, we meditate on, we discover the innocence in the cabal members, in those that have been harming humanity and this planet for what they think is their personal benefit, but is really just self-harm in the end, right? All is one. Okay, that's all I have for today. Much love to all of you and your beautiful innocence. Okay, bye.